Dawson Rider review.
Hey YouTube, Dawson Rider here. Welcome to my review for the Power Rangers Mystic Force Solar Streak Megazord. Right now, obviously, we have in its train mode because you can see this mecha is based off of birds. No, it's based off of trains. It's made up of these pieces here that are all connected in its train mode. These four, which are the arms and legs, are pretty much identical. I'm sure that there's like an actual order they're supposed to go in, but since they're like 98% identical, you can pretty much link them up in whatever order you want, and it's going to look primarily the same. But they're like the arms and legs, and they feature decent details, and I think this thing looks solid on its own. And obviously you can roll it around. Wow, that just became disconnected. Way to ruin it! But they're connected via, you know, kind of classic little train links, which you can see sort of out of the corner, which I'll get to more in a second. But you know what, I'll just do this here. You can see, like, they all have little links, these different pieces that'll connect together, that'll swing out for each of them. But I think, like, as the train set goes, if you want to display it like this, like if you're really huge into this mode, I think it looks solid. I've talked about in other reviews how I think some of the older mecha looked better on their own, and this was one of those ones where this was using a Japanese mold. There were some slight differences and stuff, but we did use the Japanese mold. But I'm sort of talking about for both Sentai and older PR, where the like individual mode looked pretty solid on its own, whereas like nowadays I think sometimes you get ones where the individual ones look kind of cheap, and you kind of have to put it together for it to look good. But I think if you wanted to display it in this mode, the paint all looks very solid. I think they did a really good job on the gold paint here to kind of make it actually look gold and sort of stand out. Let's kind of just bring one of them in there because you can get the same general paint idea, and all the paint is kind of clear. It doesn't look too cheap. Even the gray here isn't that of cheap gray plastic that I usually don't like. It's a little bit of a darker gray, and then you have the shiny silver there. So, and then I got in here storing the little, I store the little pieces in there for that. But just to kind of highlight that, like these, to be honest, are kind of boring. I don't find them to be that interesting, these individual cars. Part of me wishes that they were a little bit more standout-ish, like individuality in there, but it also makes sense for the design, I guess. This is obviously the star of the set, the main piece that's got the most different details, and I think it looks pretty cool. I think it really conveys the sort of magical theme of this series, along with the train theme they're going for this specific mecha. You got a symbol there looking like a solar sun, which makes sense, you know, Solaris Night, Magishine, all that stuff. You can open this up here to reveal sort of a cannon mode, which we'll be able to also do in Megazord mode. This thing does have lights and sounds. One thing I wanted to note about that is be really careful. The way to change the batteries is here. There's a screw right here that you have to undo, and you basically have to make sure you have a really skinny screwdriver to do that. And mine, when I was trying to do it, got really stiff, and I turned it too much, and this piece cracked and popped open here, and so that's kind of broken for now. And not for now, I mean always, until I glue it or something, which I probably won't. But just be careful about that. I kind of hate the way that's done. I think it would have served much better either somewhere else or with maybe just a button release. Like, I don't need that much battery security, guys. But there's an on-off switch here, and you get lights there along with the sounds, and there's a little button here. So you get those train type noises, and then you have the coal car here, which I think is the most boring one. And like, even though you have aspects of the dust, there's a piece of dust I forgot to get. That's so embarrassing. But there's all kinds of nooks and crannies on these. But you can just tell the most toyeticness on this with kind of the gears and stuff here. Just looks the most well, stand out. Like, these all flow together nicely, this flows together nicely, but then this one just kind of breaks up, I think, the nice design of it and all that. But yeah, you can move it around and stuff. It's kind of tight quarters here because of the space and it being a long train, but you know, you can move it around. And like I said, I think it looks pretty decent just as far as a display piece if you want to display it in train mode. But let's kind of move on now and go for transforming these guys into their individual modes. So for the arms here, I'm just going to go ahead and take these bits out, and we're going to set them aside. And then all you do is just put away their little train pieces here, like this, and like this, and then do this, so you have the fist, and then you'll be able to tell which side it goes on. Same thing here, just put these away, like so. I'm going to take this bit out, I always put them here so I don't forget it, and then, oops, wrong way, there we go. And then the legs are very simple. Literally all you do is put away these pieces here, and then they're just ready to go. Like, you don't have to do anything else with them, like, other than put these away. They're already bee's feet, so it's like perfect setup, and they're already ready to be transformed with. Now this piece here, you're going to do a couple different things. You're going to kind of fold this around like this while also simultaneously bringing this out because this is going to be the head. So this is going to be all ready for you here. And then this is going to come around to create the sort of docking port for the main area there. So you have this, and just make sure you get it all set up so the head's going right. So you have that ready. And then this one's pretty simple. You're just going to be taking these off, and I'll maneuver them later, but just sort of get them out of the way on the side here. Then you just take this piece here and put it forward. Oh, and of course make sure that this piece is put away too, otherwise this is going to be kind of difficult when you're trying to do this. But then it's super, super easy, and then just kind of adjust these accordingly, and I'll probably adjust them even more afterwards. And then these little bits here just snap right onto the legs. Okay, now take these little pieces and then they just slide on right here. You might want to move these out of the way a little bit so they're not, well, in your way. Just slide them on there, and then these become classic sort of arm pegs, and you just slide these around and I have little labels on them to tell you which side is which, but it's also just a note if you, whatever reason, miss the LNRs, it just has this on the lower end so it's not facing this way. And then you'll obviously be able to tell the slash, but it lines up. And then just an adjustment, and there we go. There you have the Solar Streak Megazord in its Megazord mode, and it looks pretty cool. It's definitely one of those classic brick mecha. Like, it's very cumbersome. It's not really wispy at all. I don't know why I always use the word wispy in these reviews, but I think the paint looks good, which is obviously something that's carrying over from what I was talking about in this individual mode, but I think the paint all looks good and standout-ish, and I think that the gold, I think, is what makes it, because that can sort of will make or break it. If you had it kind of in a tan color, it would make it look really cheap and drab, but I think it stands out nicely and the colors flow together nicely. But it's definitely one of those more bulky ones that I don't think looks quite as good. I've always liked the concept of the design and thought it was solid, but in terms of some of the other ones in this line, I think it is one of the weaker links. I mean, I think people that like trains will be more into this one than some of the other ones, but I'm just kind of more of a fan of the mystical design of the other mecha and the sort of more clever way and the more sleek way they go together. I guess Manicore isn't as sleek, but I think you know what I mean. But I think if you're into this, you'll enjoy it, but I do think it is one of the more clunky entries in the Mystic Force line. As I said, this is pretty much identical to the main, like, Magishine version, the Travalion, whatever it's called. There's probably some slight differences, like, oh, it's missing a little paint here and there, but they're basically the same mold, and you have all the primary details, so if I were to recommend one over the other, it would be basically just based on what you can find the better price for, and also just be careful when you're unscrewing this bit so you don't make a mistake like me. And as far as articulation goes, you really just have this, and that is it. But that is about it for this one. Until next time, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and climb the steps and ring that bell so you get notifications for all my videos. Till next time, Dawson Ryder, signing out.